Ah, Tom Holland, what a handsome young British man.
But you're more than that.
You're also the best version of Spider-Man that we've ever gotten, excluding this Japanese version, of course. The main reason why Tom is the best version of Spider-Man is because Stan Lee said so. There you go, end of the video. No, but jokes aside, why did he say this? It's because Tom brings a different tone to the character in comparison with Tobey and Andrew. Of course, bad things do happen to this character, like Uncle Ben dying or Aunt May dying and MJ watching a movie with this asshole right here. As Spider-Man, he's constantly making jokes and giving savvy comments, which is a big part of the character. The reason is that the comic book version of Peter Parker is a geek that was getting constantly bullied by this man right here, Flash Thompson. As Peter Parker, he never talked back, mainly because he couldn't due to him being a weak bitch. But when he becomes Spider-Man, that becomes his escape. He's able to talk back to all the evil guys. He's able to say things that Peter Parker can't say. You just look at his first appearance in the MCU, at that random ass German airport. He's constantly messing around with these assholes right here, making jokes and giving savvy remarks. That's Spider-Man. We got some elements of this in the first Amazing Spider-Man movie, in the form of one scene where he just shoots web at some guy's nuts, yeah? And the whole thing just felt forced. In the second movie we got more of this, but the jokes were really bad and really inappropriate. They just resulted in potential lives being in danger. Like, dude, Andrew, why would you mess around with this Russian guy in this situation? Just arrest his ass before he kills a civilian. And why do you put on a firefighter helmet instead of just shooting water at him instantly? Stop being an asshole and just get the job done. But with Tom, we get the jokes and like the good character moments at the good moments, if that's even a sentence. They just don't feel forced or that they put lives in danger. Like when he comes up with the idea to take down Ant-Man. It's innocent, it's sweet, it's not forced. With Tobey's characters, he had more of a serious approach. Even when he's suited up, he's like shutting up. He doesn't speak or anything. Of course, excluding the symbiote suit where he's just, dancing like a predator in the middle of the street, slapping women on the ass like a perverted man that should be jailed. His character always feels awkward, which is not a bad thing because Peter Parker is a weird and awkward guy. But as Spider-Man, you're supposed to let loose and tell jokes and be, fun. And this is coming from a guy that loves Tobey Maguire. I've watched like his movies 500 times. But of course, me being an objective Swedish man, I have to tell you the truth, that some elements from the comic books are just missing from his character, which people just fail to realize. The second strong, impenetrable argument is that Tom is a great version of Peter Parker. Objectively speaking, Tobey's version of Peter Parker is really good, maybe the best, but Tom does a great job too. Andrew, man, your version was really weird. Peter was some punker that liked to skate around and break school rules. Anyway, with Holland, we'd get multiple awkward moments in public and just in social settings. I mean, literally, the man can barely pronounce a word when talking to his crush in the first movie. Same thing in the second movie, where they're just walking around and it feels just cringe and awkward. That's Peter Parker, man, being an awkward guy, just like me with the women. Haha, saved me. Anyway, he always wants to prove himself to others and just be liked by everyone, like showing that he's friends with Spider-Man or talking about his internship with Tony Stark, or just wanting to be with his classmates and not bail on them. And this is a big part of the Spider character. In the comics, he was constantly thinking about how he was perceived by his friends, what his girlfriend was saying, what his classmates were thinking. You know how many times in the comics he failed to show up to some event because he had to, save the city? What was the result? Him not getting any credit from the public and all his friends hating him. Heck, there was even one Heck, dude, I'm so white. Anyway, there was one instance in the comics where he was supposed to pick up Aunt May's boyfriend from some weird place, but he couldn't make it due to Spider-Man duties. What happened? The old guy got beat up and slammed to the ground, and who got blamed for this? Not the criminals, but Peter. What was his excuse? I'm sorry, Aunt May, I just, didn't have time. Haha. You know how painful this is, man? Letting down everyone you know every day for your whole life. Of course, we get these elements as well in the other movies, mainly with this man right here, because Andrew, I mean, seriously, he had no friends, dude. Like, literally, he did not have a single friend in school, except that girl with glasses that had like 4 lines in the whole movie. But of course, now you're saying, hey, this Swedish man is slowly but surely convincing me. Well, let me do the opposite and just prevent you from having this opinion. Let's be real, Andrew Garfield is not included in this video or conversation. So to all the Andrew fanboys out there, just, shut up and leave this planet or something. The main argument is that Spider-Man's supposed to be a poor guy, and when you fight criminals all the time, you don't have time to earn money. But Tom's version doesn't seem to struggle with money. Maybe a little bit in the first movie, but definitely not throughout the whole series. His Aunt May seems to have a relatively stable income. He's never mentioned struggling for money, which is a big part of the character because it puts him in really uncomfortable situations. Situations like not being able to pay the rent and being evicted on the street, even starving in some instances. It's supposed to be a constant theme in his life, but we just don't get it here. Also the fact that he has to earn money by selling pictures of himself to the Daily Bugle, which of course uses the pictures to publicly drag his name through the mud. Do you hear how messed up that is? Imagine how pissed you would be in that situation. Your only way of earning money is by dragging your name through the mud. But we don't see it, man, which is really annoying. And we see it a lot with Tobey's character because he's constantly getting destroyed at the Daily Bugle. Constantly getting publicly destroyed for just saving children. But Tom, man, he doesn't get this. Instead, he's just gifted everything by Tony Stark. He's gifted a suit, money, technology. Dude, he's literally gifted a Queen jet where he can create an overpowered suit to fight Mysterio. Tobey had to sit down at a sewing machine and make that shit from scratch. Then this guy just complains about things being hard. Stop it, man. Just stop. Also, this is probably the main argument as to why he's not on the same level as Tobey. He just doesn't go through enough of a character arc, man. It's relatively weak throughout the 3 movies, except for the final movie, but until then, nothing really. Tobey's character went through so much shit, man. Feeling responsible for Uncle Ben's death because he wanted to impress MJ and buy some shitty car for $3,000. This became a big moment where he officially became Spider-Man. And of course, you have other elements, like his best friend's father being his greatest enemy, and then his best friend blaming Spider-Man for his father's death and getting pissed off at Peter because he takes pictures of the bug, which is his only source of money, billionaire guy. Like, come on, Harry, give him a break. The man has told you that he doesn't know who Spider-Man is. What an asshole, dude. Anyway, he almost loses MJ several times. He goes through some external crisis and loses his powers, disappoints Aunt May and completely abandons her in the bank, and then telling her about Uncle Ben's death and how he was involved in it. Like, I can go on and on and on. This man right here has gone through everything, while Tom's character not so much until the final movie, man. But it's now that I say to myself, stop it. Just stop. Because Tom has actually gone through a lot lately. He literally lost his Aunt May to these assholes right here. Why? Because he was trying to save these assholes right here. The whole world forgot his identity. I mean, losing Zendaya and that Asian guy. It's such a great setup for future movies because we have all this rage stored inside him. Combine this with the symbiote, which of course feeds on rage. What do we get? A great setup, dude. Like, it can't get any better than this. A mistake that movies often make is that they rush things, trying to completely set up everything in like 5 minutes. Garfield's movie, we got some weird setup in 5 minutes, showcasing all the villain suits. With Spider-Man 3, everything felt so rushed and unstructured. It felt like one of my dates, to be honest. Everything just going to hell. You had like 3 or 4 villains or something, like running around and fighting Peter. But with the home trilogy, we got like a setup, or a long setup at least. And in the upcoming trilogy, we're gonna see how he copes with losing all these different key elements. We're gonna get Peter being piss poor and having to earn money to survive, while at the same time trying to save the world. He lives in a small, crappy apartment now where he has to use his own intelligence to craft equipment, using his savviness to navigate the horrible city that is New York. Oh, what an awful place, dude. Maybe Tom's not the best yet, but he's definitely getting there. There's no need to rush things because we're getting so many movies. Are you telling me that we have to cram everything together at once? Is that even a word? Cram? I don't know. But we don't need to cram everything together. People need to have patience, dude. Seriously, I read a comment on Reddit that the best version of Spider-Man is from the PlayStation game. And to that I say, stop it. Just stop. Is it a great game? Yes. But that's like 20 plus hours of gameplay and development. It's just more room for activities and growth. Every Spider-Man appearance in the MCU is like 9 hours maybe. Yeah. So to the random guy that commented that on Reddit, just stop it, man. Stop. So, to make a long, terrible story short, we finally have a character that's able to have the best of both worlds. Weird Hannah Montana song, but yeah, we see an awkward Peter Parker that can't talk to the female species, getting bullied constantly, lets his friends down all the time. But at the same time, we get an innocent Spider-Man that's savvy and constantly making jokes, always wanting to save people no matter what. Tobey just lacked this jokester version of Spider-Man, kind of just being boring. Great action, but no fun thing about him. And with Andrew's character, I mean, this combined with Tom Holland's future trilogies having missing key elements, like, you know, being piss poor and having to struggle for survival in New York. Oh man, we're on our way to have the greatest Spider-Man character of all time. Of course, excluding this Japanese man right here. So to all the Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield fanboys out there, just stop it, man. Stop.